What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Brendan, and I'm BManX45, and today we're coming at you with another video. We have another in our How to Build series. We're looking at the Liberator red deck, the Reptile Dragonkin Liberator, or Styracomon as it is now. It used to be Medusamon, but we're looking at the new support in BT24 for this deck and seeing how we might change up how we play the deck with this new level 7, with the new cards and all the other stuff here. So we're going to get right into it right now. We're going to look at some Digimon cards and see what has changed since the last time we played it, which was, I think, in BT21, and how we might play it now. And hey, if you enjoyed this type of content, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. We love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss one single minute of the fun. All right, well, let's get right into it here. We'll start with the Digi Eggs here. We have the original guy, which is the Digimon from BT21 inherited effect. When your opponent's security stackers move from one of your Digimon, may Digivolve into a Digimon card with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait in the hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. Really good effect. The new one is once per turn, when your opponent's security stackers move from you, may delete one of their Digimon with 3000 DP or less. I don't see this guy seeing play. It's just not a good enough effect. You want that reduced Digivolution cost, which is really, really good. So I think that most likely we're sticking with the old guy here because he adds to your plays. Getting into the rookies here, I pulled out the Elizamons. You're obviously going to be playing maxed out on the Searcher, which is the reveal top 3. Add one card with Reptile or Dragonkin trait, and one card with the Liberator trait among them to the hand. Someone was saying to me that this card is actually really good in the Tyrannomon deck because you have all your Reptile Agumons, and it also gives you one of your Liberator cards. So that's actually really cool. If you think about it, this is going to be good in multiple decks. And then Inheritable, when your opponent's security stackers move from gain of memory, always really good. We have some other Elizamons. We have the reduced cost ones. You're probably going to play at least 2 to 3 copies of this. It's always good to get into your level 4 for cost 1, which is really good. Plus you get 2000 plus 2000 DP. The new one is also one I feel like is going to see play by trashing one card with the Reptile, Dragonkin, or Liberator trait from your hand. Draw 2, so it kind of gets your engine moving. And then when same inheritable to gain a memory. We do have the old Agumon that we played. On play, you may return one Digimon card with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait from the trash to the hand. I'm not sure if you're going to see play on this guy anymore. He's just not as good, and you have 3 really good rookie targets right here. You might play one of them, because you're probably going to play 10 to 12 rookies, and you might not play 4 of this or 4 of this, which means you might have room for like a copy or 2 of him if you think it's necessary, but it might not be in the long run. I'm leaning away from playing him myself in the future. Then we have our level 4s, Dimetromon, the one that lets you play a Tamer if you have one, it lets you play an Owen if you have 1 or less. I think this is still going to be good as at least like a 3 of. Plus it gets you more memory from the inheritable. You have the promo, which if it's hit off security, you can play 1 card with the Liberator trait and a play cost of 4 or less from your hand or trash, and it has progress. So while you're attacking, your opponent's effects don't affect this Digimon, which is always really great. Plus, it's got the memory gain inheritable, and the new Dimetromon, which has the same inheritable, is a blocker that has all turns if any of your other Digimon with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait would leave the battle area by your opponent's effects by returning this Digimon to the hand. They don't leave, so it's got protection, which is kind of cool. So I think I'm not sure which one of these is better. Security bombs are always really, really nice. You also have the Cyclonemon we played in BT21 that plays out of security when it's hit, and has delete one of your post Digimon with 4000 DP or less, which is also really good. Plus 2000 inheritable. And there's a new Cyclonemon, which is actually a TS card, but it's still good because it's still a Dragon King. It has inheritable raid, which is cool, and it has rush and raid. So that's actually really cool. It has rush, and in this new iteration of the deck, you can play this card for free. So it could potentially set up an OTK. So I'm leaning towards that. I might try to play a couple copies of this Cyclomon just for the OTK aspect, but we'll get to that later on. And I'm not sure, like, again, where I'm on these Dimetromons. I feel like this one's good. I mean, it has blocker, and it's only like play cost 4,000 DP. So, I mean, I'm just not sure how good the promo is really. But we'll have to wait and see. But I'm definitely thinking that you're going to play some combination of either one of these or like a combination of two of them. And I definitely want to try and play some of that new Cyclomon. It'd be nice to play the old guy just because it pops stuff. But I don't know. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. We also have our BT21 Cyberdramon is a card we played in the BT21 format, which is, again, it's treated as Dragonkin, so it's good for the deck. It's got an on-play when digivolving effect. If your opponent has 5 or fewer security, they place one card from their hand as the bomb security, then trash their top security card, which is a pretty good ability because it activates other effects in your deck that could potentially allow you to gain advantage. And it has a 4,000 DP boost inheritable, which is insane. We have the Lamiamons. Of course, we have the first Lamiamon, which is the Progress Lamiamon. And then your turn, when your opponent's security is removed from, you may play a Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon card 5,000 DP or less from your hand. This is why the Rush Cyclomon is good, because he's 5,000 DP. Same inheritable for the BT24. The only difference is she doesn't have Progress, and then doesn't have the your turn. Or, well, does it? I can't remember, because this one has the your turn ability. When any of your Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon's attack change, trash your opponent's top security card. So if you had raid, inheritable raid with Cyclomon, that would actually be pretty good. But you also have the new Lamiamon, which has the hand main ability. If you have Owen on the field, you can place a Dimetromon from your trash under any of your Elizamon as the Bomb Digivolution card, and then Warp Digivolve to her, and still have your inheritable from the Dimetromon. So this is really good, especially with that new Elizamon that can trash a card. So you can trash a Dimetromon, and then go into it for 3. You can also use cool things like the ability of the Elizamon that reduces cost to reduce that Digivolution to 2, which is really good. And then when Digivolving, when attacking once per turn, your opponent places one card from their hand as their bomb security card and then trashes their top security card, which is good because it gets cards out of their hand that they need for their combos, which is always good, and it gets rid of a security card you don't know about. And then, like I said, it plays a 5,000 cost Reptile when stacks are removed from, which is why I included Chimeramon, because it lets you play pretty much most of your level 4s, except for, of course, this Dimetromon. So again, this might not be making it as good as it could. It also lets you play all your level 3s. So yeah, so it's a really good card. Because now you have the ability to potentially DNA. I don't know if it's not as consistent as other DNAs, so you might not actually want to play this. It might be better to play the Cyberdramon. But definitely with the 2 Lamiamons there, you have some choices. I definitely think we're going to play more of this new Lamiamon, probably 4, and maybe play only like a couple copies, like 1 or 2 of the old Lamiamon. But I feel like Cyberdramon's still a good pick, and I just don't know right now if Chimeramon has enough consistency in the deck. If you have enough consistency to get level 4s on the board with these abilities, we'll have to wait and see. Getting to Medusamon, of course, the original Medusamon has Progress and Security Attack +1. When digivolving and end of attack, once per turn, you may delete one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon. All turns once per turn. When any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted or their security stacks are removed from, you can play one petrification token, which is placed to their field and has the ability on deletion trash your top security card, so it helps you trash your opponent's security, which is always great because then you don't have to worry about what you're hitting in security. So yeah. So you have a bunch of different abilities there. And then you also have the new Medusamon, which has Raid, Progress, and Piercing, which is funny because you almost don't need that Owen that gives Piercing now. When digivolving, delete one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon, then by returning 2 cards from their trash to the bottom of the deck, which is interesting because on decks that rely on the trash, it's going to be really, really awful for them. They play 2 petrification tokens to their side of the field. After this, this Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for each of your opponent's Digimon until their turn ends. So that's also really good. This card, I believe, is better with the new Styracomon than the old Medusamon, unfortunately. I think the old Medusamon, if you're, is not as good with the Styracomon. So if you're focusing on your level 7, you're probably going to want 4 of this, and maybe you play like a couple copies of the old Medusamon, but definitely think that the BT24 one is the way to go. And then, of course, you have the big boss monster himself, which has all the keywords. He can digivolve from a Lamiamon for cost 6 when you have an Owen on the board, or, for 4 on your level 5. Progress, Piercing, Blocker, Armor Purge. So Armor Purge is actually really good too because it gets you back to your Medusamon. And then when digital, you may trash any one of your opponent's security cards. So if you know where something is and you're worried about it, you can get rid of it. Then this Digimon may unsuspend. So that's really good. So you can attack with your Medusamon potentially and then still unsuspend when you digivolve into him. All turns once per turn when your opponent's security stack is removed from, you may delete one of their Digimon. And all turns once per turn when any of your Reptile or Dragonkin Digimon would leave the battle area by deleting one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon they don't leave, which is cool because it sets off both abilities. So basically, if your opponent tries to kill your Styracomon and you have one of your tokens on their side of the board, you can delete that and then activate the other ability to delete the Digimon they put on the board. So really good security, really good protection, plus Armor Purge, and then you have built-in Piercing, which is always really, really good. So really good, especially if you can get to this for reduced cost. It's good. And then it unsuspends and you get more attacks. So, and every time you hit a token, the cool thing about that is you're trashing a security. And if you have Piercing, you're checking one. So 2 checks for the price of 1. You can do an easy potentially 4 checks every turn. So that's pretty cool. The other thing I forgot to check out was the Wargreymon we got in wrong one. The Wargreymon that we got in BT21 was also a card that a lot of people played. Just got to find him here, right there. So this guy right here was a part of this deck because Owen is a Wargreymon player. Hey. And then this card was interesting because it had Rush, Raid, and Blocker. When this card would be played, reduced the play cost by 2 for each of your opponent's Digimon. It also has 3 to digivolve into, and it had all turns once per turn when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted. This Digimon may unsuspend. So potentially it can, especially if you can give it piercing, it can do multiple checks. Not sure if we're going to play this one again. It was a really good combo with Raging Serpentine and Cyberdramon, and we'll look at Raging Serpentine right now, which is when this card would be used. If your opponent has 3 or fewer cards, reduce the play cost by 4, so it goes down to 3 when you're later in the game. So this could be really good. You only have to play it for half the cost, play it for 4. Delete one of your opponent's highest DP Digimon in the main, and then place this card in the battle area. And then all turns, when your opponent's secure stack is removed from delay ability, one of your Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon may digivolve into a Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon in the hand without paying the cost. So this is where you could just hard play a Cyberdramon for 7, potentially pass to your opponent, and then just delay Raging Serpentine, which was actually really, really good. Because you could go into something like your War Greymon and attack using the Owen, or go into the Medusamon and just by activating his ability to basically place a card in their security stack and then trash one, which would then activate the delay ability of Raging Serpentine. So that's really, really good. We're looking at the Owens. I don't think there's a much need to play this Memory Setter Owen. If you do, you may be playing a copy, maybe 2. When a card is removed from your opponent's security stack, all turns, by suspending this tamer, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 DP or less. I don't know if it's a necessary evil. It just doesn't do enough for the deck, I personally think. So I don't know if I'm going to play much more than a copy or 2 of it, if any at all. You also have you're obviously going to max out, play at least probably 3, I don't know if you play 4 of the BT21 tamer, which is if your opponent has a Digimon gain 1 memory at the start of turn. End of your turn, by suspending this tamer, one of your Digimon with a Reptile or Dragonkin trait gains piercing for the turn. So it does give you piercing if you don't have it, but a lot of the new guys have piercing, so you don't necessarily need it at that point. It's more then that Digimon attacks. So it gives you the ability to Digivolve, end turn, pass turn, and then attack is why you need it. That just being able to attack at the end of your turn by suspending the tamer. So that's good, especially because it helps you do things like not Digivolve your level 5. You can Digivolve, you can attack at the end turn with Lamiamon and trash security, and you can go use the Digimon to then Digivolve higher up, or you can do it with the Medusamon now and then gain memory from trashing a security, and then you can use your inheritables to gain memory to maintain turn, and then do Styracomon. So it's good. You need multiple copies on the board. And then the new Owen, start your main phase by returning this tamer to the bottom of the deck. You may play 1 Owen Dreadnought from your hand without paying the cost. You can play the other Owen. Then if you don't have a Digimon play, you may play 1 Elizamon from your trash without paying the cost. And then your turn, when any of your Digimon Digivolve into a Reptile or Dragonkin Digimon, by suspending this tamer, they gain plus 3,000 DP for the turn, and then it may attack. So this guy's good too, because it gives you the may attack too, and you don't necessarily need to go into the piercing Owen. So I think this is just as good, giving you DP buffs, especially when a lot of your big guys have piercing now. You could just end up putting more of this on the board. And until we get like a better Owen than these two, this one's probably not getting its starter main ability used as much. But if you have a bunch of copies of this, you can use it to get, a copy of this or a copy of that on the board, just so you have variety. So I do like that in general. Plus, it does put that Elizamon from the trash on the board, which can then potentially do a lot of good for you, especially if you can warp into your level 5. So many different ways to think about it. That's good. And then, of course, lastly, Blazing Conductor is our unique emblem, which can help us get into Styracomon. It lets you play for 3, lets you play an Elizamon or an Owen Dreadnought, which is great because if you're you might as well play it if you're going to play a Searcher Elizamon anyways, from your hand or trash without paying the cost. Then place this card in the battle area. And when any of your Owen Dreadnought suspend by trashing this card, one of your Reptile or Dragonkin Digimon may Digivolve into a card with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait and the Liberator trait in the hand with the dissolution cost reduced by 3. So again, you can go into your level 7 for cheap. You can go into your level 6 for cheap, and you can almost always activate this if you Digivolve into Medusamon. Because if you Digivolve into Medusamon and end turn, you can almost always activate this because with one of your Owens, because if you use their end of turn suspension abilities to give your Medusamon something, so you can then potentially, you don't necessarily have to you can attack with the like Styracomon and then unsuspend and Digivolve mid attack, or attack with the Medusamon. There's a lot of interesting abilities you can use there and reduce that dissolution cost. So that's really, really good. So yeah, I think they're both good cards. I don't know which option. We're obviously going to be playing more of the unique emblem. I'm not sure if you're going to play Raging Serpentine. It's still good, still a very good card, especially if you can play it for 4. I think it's still warranted at least maybe like 1 or 2 copies, but definitely we're going to be playing at least probably like 3-ish, maybe 4 of the unique emblem, but definitely looking around 3 of that because it's so good. Again, I don't know if we're going to play any Owen Dreadnought. It's a memory setter, so that's one good thing about it. And it does pop. It does allow you to pop floodgates, but I just don't know if it's, is good enough to play. If you do, it's going to be very minimal, and you're going to focus on these 2 tamers right here. And then, of course, you're going to play other things. You're going to play potentially scrambles, trainings, memory boost. Probably memory boost better in this deck right now, as I think trainings, I just think they're a little bit not as good in this deck because you have a lot of abilities like your Warp Digivolve effect and your other Digivolve reduction effects that kind of get in the way of training. Some of them get in the way of training, not all of them. But I definitely think that this is kind of like a good skeleton of the deck of what it's going to look like. And then I might have missed things, but if I did, let me know. Of course, you can play things like Gravity Crush. You can play things like, what is it? I already said trainings and mem boosts. But there's so many good red cards you can play in this deck as well. So there's a number of things you can play. So, but it's got some really good cards in it. And I think it's really, really strong, especially now with Styracomon, especially with piercing on both your guys. But I think really that this Medusamon has been eclipsed by this one just because I think it works so much more better and more synergistically with the level 7. And it's going to be interesting because now we got a whole bunch of options. And like I said, like if you can put in a whole bunch of checks, like you can put in like, potentially 5 checks. I mean, the one thing is that this Medusamon does have security attack +1. So, I mean, potentially, you can security attack +1, do 2 checks. Then you can play a token when you and then go into Styracomon and unsuspend, and then do 2 more. See, either way, I kind of see it only as doing 2 checks each time. Getting you at least 4 checks. I mean, if you played a Rush Cyclomon, you could get a 5th check, but I'm not sure where the OTK lies in this. If you can get that 6th check, get that game check. I mean, one thing I could say is you could if you had another Owen to let you suspend and do a May attack end of turn, you could definitely just slam down a Rush Wargreymon. Or really anything, because as long as it has the Reptile or Dragonkin trait, you can then use Owen to give it Rush. So I guess you can OTK pretty easily with this deck if you really think about it, and you just got to slam cards down and have enough tamers on board. So, I mean, there's that as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts about all this. Is there cards I forgot? What do you guys think about this, how to build? Am I spot on with some of my characterizations of the cards, or did I need a little bit more thought coming out from that? But looks like that's all the time we have for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope to see you in the next video. As always, have a wonderful day, and that's all for now, folks.